Hello, budget traveller. How was your week? Oh man, this is the second weekend in a row I've tried to get away. No, third weekend I've tried to get away for a trip after the motorbike ride up to Falls Creek, and boy, it's getting harder and harder. So anyway, enough about that. I hope you've had a good week. I am Brad, and welcome back to this episode of the Budget Adventure Show. Today we are heading out of home up into the foothills of the high country to Corryong. We come through there on the New Year's. Oh, there's the old, I'll slow down, there's the old FJ. I don't know if you've seen that. I'll freeze frame it if you if it picks up on the video. But I miss that thing. I wish I could have it back over this. Yes, that's true. Corryong. I believe when we've done the New Year's bike ride up over Omeo Highway and that, we come back through Corryong to Clark's Reserve. I don't know if I filmed any coming through Corryong. It might have been just Toowoomba out to the Towong, sorry, and out there. So it's definitely a Friday, and the crazies are out. Even coming home from Yass or Canberra today, 400 k's on the Hume, and yeah, the freeway was busy. I don't know what's on this weekend, but I do know one thing that's on this weekend, and I keep on getting away from it. Corryong has a vintage machinery rally up there this weekend. So old engines, old trucks, old machinery, all the sort of all the old things that some don't run on any fuel whatsoever. They're steam powered, or maybe some old lost form of perpetual motion. I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. But unfortunately, just like some of the old gear, some of the old boys that are keeping the stuff alive and keeping the stuff running as well. Like when we get there, you'll see the average age of everyone's probably over 60, which is a shame. But that shit's expensive. I had a look at an old steam engine, and that was 10 grand, and I prefer to get the 650 in the garage and than pay 10 grand a steam engine. But anyway, thank you for pressing play. Hopefully I cut a lot of the waffling out, even though I'm not doing a very good job of it up front. So I'll just throw up here now. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this new episode of the Budget Adventure Show as we head up to Corryong. We're going to do the vintage show, and then I'm going to come back and do a bit of a sly camp in the bush somewhere. I don't know where. I could always come back to Cudgewa. We've got property there, private property. I could have a bonfire, everything else, but it's a little bit far off the Murray Valley Highway, so I'm going to head up here anyway. And yeah, I hope you enjoy, and pick your nose, cut the credits. So I've just pulled over on the side of the road here while we're going to keep with the historic theme of the trip. We're back again following the old Cudgewa Railway Line and the big trestle bridge down here they call the Needles. We'll go and see how close we can get to it, but imagine back in 1912, 1914 when this was being engineered and surveyed to, we're going to build a railway, building a railway up to Corryong or Cudgewa. Just the hills, find the deviations, trying to get a railway built through this country. Madness. There's the old alignment here, coming down over Cudgewa Creek. Just down there. One of many trestle bridges built on the Cudgewa Railway Line. Get off there, bug. Now this second section, second, I think it was the third, because it was first Wodonga to Tallangatta, and then I think they done Tallangatta to Bulleo, and then the final section was Bulleo up over the hill, Shelley Range, and down Batoomba, through here, through the Needles, over Cudgewa Creek and the Cudgewa itself. But still here. Should have researched it. I'd say it would be 30s or 40s, so many decades dealing with, again, nice tight valley, so the amount of water that ran down Cudgewa Creek, it, yeah. There are many trestle bridges along the alignment that sadly have succumbed to floods. Tallangatta Creek, it got washed out a while ago. There's another one at Bulleo that was washed out, and one of the local historical societies out of Tallangatta have just rebuilt it. New piles, the whole lot. So there's good. And although we are on private property, the fact this little walking gate's been put in must tell me one or two things. One, you're allowed to go up and have a look. Obviously, the sign on the bridge saying don't walk on it, people go up there. And two, cocky sick of people pushing through fences or whatever else. But I might just sneak down. We'll sneak down the bottom here, since there's no fence. There's a deep hole there though. See if we don't disappear into one of these. Oh, walking blind. Walking blind. Look at that. Unlike some of the other bridges, Derbyshire bridges like that, this has actually got steel beams under it, which probably another sign of being built later on in the length of the trackway, whereas the earlier bridges back further, from memory, Boggy Creek and that don't have steel beams under them, so yeah. Just, again, marvel of engineering. I'll see if I can find a, I've got a few photos at home. I'll see if I can put one up here above my head or over my head of trains back in the day going over this bridge. I don't make them like that anymore. I'll just walk back up to the car. Not too far, about 100 metres off the road here. Probably the first thing I'm going to do once I get the DR is I want to do this whole Cudgewa Railway Line series, probably a two-parter. Was going to do it last year, I think, when I'd done the Mount Lawson video in season 1. I visited the Boggy Creek Bridge at Mount Lawson there and made the made the commitment to do the Cudgewa Railway Line, but kind of waiting for the Weir Lake Hume to get down below, I think 35%. So whew, that's a bit of a climb out there. So you could see the old deviation before it was changed when the Weir was extended in the 50s, but the Weir hasn't got empty. The Weir's been full for 3 years, and Dart's probably going to flow over again. So yeah, the needles, just mountain ranges either side. Again, makes you wonder how they build a train track through these hills. Guys, I've been sitting on this since just before Easter. The iTech World 1300 something, I can't even remember what it's called now. There's been a massive explosion on the market of portable power stations, battery packs, whatever you want to call them. I've done some looking around. I'd sold the Patrol. I was looking at doing a 12 volt system for the Spacia, and was thinking, well, if I get another vehicle, I'm going to have to do a 12 volt setup in that as well. Now you start looking, the way to go now if you're doing a startup, if you haven't got any of the components, you do a lithium. So lithium battery, you need a lithium solar regulator to charge it, you need a lithium DC charger if you're going to run it off your car. Hundreds, thousands of dollars. So I picked this one up after doing some research, looking at all the different ones. The biggest thing I found was trying to find something with a lithium battery of 100 amp hour or more. Your Jackeries, your Blue Yetis, all them sort of popular ones that all the Yanks are using and that. Yeah, they're probably good for an overnighter, maybe in cooler conditions, but when it's only a 48 amp hour battery, that fridge on a 25 degree day in the car will use that in a 24 hour period. So it's just not enough. Whereas the 100 amp hour lithium is going to have the same draw as what my 200 amp hour AGM had in the Patrol. It's only 17 kilos and not 60, which is another massive help. And a lot of stuff built in. So if you start looking battery, you're probably looking at $1,000 even if you go cheapo on a lithium battery. This has got a 1300 watt inverter built in with two 240 volt outputs. That's going to be, well, I think it's a 1500 watt max output. So you're probably looking at $400-500 for one of them. Your DC, your solar regulator and DC charger. This is a twofer, so you've got a solar in with a mini Anderson plug, and you also got 12 volt in for a fitting there. I've got the 12 volt socket there so I can charge while you're driving. Or when I'm parked up, I can throw the solar mats on the windscreen on the roof and have that solar charging as well, or maintaining. My mats aren't as efficient as they should be. But also comes with a 240 plug so you can charge it at home when you're out at the end of a trip. You've got three USB points on it and a USB-C. It's also got a single 12 volt socket out, which is a shame, and I'll get to that in a minute. And it's also got another little 12 volt out that runs, I'm not gonna have it, runs on that. So you plug that in and you've got the 12 volt socket, or I've got a 12 volt Anderson plug coming out off that. So at the time, I think it was about $2,300, which again, coming into Easter, thanks ZipPay, was able to pay for that. Used it for Easter. It ran the big King's 95 litre fridge in the back of the old man's cruiser all of Easter, no problems. And it pissed rain, cloudy, overcast. A little bit of solar I had was enough to keep power into it. Mei, it was in the back here for the Mei trip. Now, if I'm not camping in the back of the car, it'll stay here, and I can stack stuff in front of it or sit the mattress on top of it. If I'm going to camp in the car, normally it will be behind the driver's seat. I can move it around. I when it pissed rain for a day and a half, take it into the hut, grab the fridge out, take it in the hut, so you're not walking out through the mud back and forth to get a beer out of the fridge or food or whatever else. Just stuff like that. If you Christmas time, you're going to a friend's place, nothing worse than having to walk out to the car every time to get a beer. Grab that, carry it inside, get someone to help you, or if you've got a small enough fridge, carry the fridge inside, it's there ready to go, or just carry the fridge inside and use their 240 power. The other reason I got this too, at the time I picked up a big 18-foot Windsor van that had a split system aircon in it, that was a 900 watt aircon. Tested this on it with the 240, and I was going to run that aircon for 6.5 hours. So over summer, going to bed at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock once the sun's gone down, putting the aircon on and letting it run for a couple of hours just to cool the van, and vice versa. It was a split system, so it would run the heater for about 2.5 hours before it start getting down on power and you'd want sunshine. But just stuff like that, kettles, toasters, you're not going to have this stuff out in the bush, or are you? We might get to that eventually. But the best thing is, now I can have it in this. The caravan you seen at the start of the last video, I've had it on a couple of trips, same thing. This just got sat in the front of it, and my other fridge out of the FJ is in that, and just go for the weekend. I left home yesterday, it was on 80, it's used 20% power overnight, which gets to another issue. It's supposed to be 100 amp hour lithium. iTech World only read after the fact that they've had some issues in the past with their batteries not quite being as good, not having the capacity to advertise. And after having this for a few months now, I don't know if it's 100 amp hour lithium, just the way it sort of uses power, the power drops. And whereas with the big 200 amp hour one I had in the Patrol, even though it was a $400 eBay special, there seems to be a little bit of difference there. Now that just might be new fridge. I haven't checked to see the draw. It's using 50 watts now, which is about 3.5 amps. So same as normal fridges, but just how much it cycles I haven't got on top of yet. But yeah, if I sell this, I can just grab this, put it in it. I'm not selling the car with a $2,000 12 volt system in it. Now, do I need a 12 volt system? Probably not. I'm going to run a dedicated 12 volt off my battery back to here to an Anderson plug, because the rear SIG sockets in this, like most cars, turn off as soon as you turn the key off, which is no good. And also, when you're driving, you can plug your fridge into the car and have this charging, or just have this sitting there and then plug the fridge back into it when you stop. You don't have to have this with the fridge going and charging while you're driving. It's pointless. All you're doing is creating more heat through these plugs. That's all the good things. Now, there are some issues. As I said earlier, I don't think it's 100 amp hour lithium. It might be, but it just doesn't seem... It's the first lithium battery I've had, so it might be different to the AGMs, and the flies are bad. Second problem, the only output big enough to run a fridge is the 12 volt. Now, everyone knows 12 volt fridges and SIG sockets are hopeless. It'd be handy if it had an Anderson plug out that you could plug a fridge into. It's got a 12-month warranty, so at the end of that 12 months, actually I think it's a 5-year warranty, but after 12 months, if it doesn't play up, I might just crack the top on this and put a couple of my own Anderson plugs on it, because I do love Anderson plugs. So that's one issue. Second issue, that's your micro Anderson plug, mini Anderson plug, whatever they call it. And as you can see, a little bit of a difference. Now, I've never seen these before, never knew they existed. It's a lot lighter plastic, so you sort of got that stiff wire coming out. I can see that getting broken or sheared off on that, which isn't good, because sometimes solar's the only way to go. Other negatives, I suppose one with the screen, it's got output, input, it's in watts, not amps, which, yeah, rightio, they all are. It does have a battery percent meter with a battery icon that goes down, up, whatever as its state of charge, and a temperature gauge on it. I don't really know why it needs a temp gauge on it. I prefer a time to empty or time discharge out reading on it, just so you know. Like now, fridge is running, still halfway through a trip. I've got 61%. If it says I've got 9 hours of battery left, well, no, I'm going to be home in time, and I won't have to worry about charging. I won't have to plug it in and charge it here. I'll just 240 it when we get home. But you can't. You're sort of guessing 61. Last night, I think I was sitting on 80 something. Went to bed thinking, yeah, rightio. Bit warm in the car last night. Condensation on the windows, all that. And the fridge running. Wake up this morning 64. So it's dropped 20% overnight, which one, it shouldn't, because that's a lot of power. A lot of power overnight when it's not hot, really. Again, that's saying 17 now. That's probably about as hot as it was in the car last night. So it hasn't got that cold or that warm yet. But again, 17 kilos, nice and light. Might even be able to strap it on the back of the motorbike. We'll see what happens there in a later video. But I think that's the biggest thing when you're looking at 12 volt systems. The other thing I wanted to go for brand Australia, or brand that was in Australia, so if there's any issues with it, $2.5 grand or $2,300 is a lot of money to spend. I didn't want to have to mail away deal for warranty if something went wrong, because technology does not last these days. I wanted someone local, someone you could call, work the issues out, and not have to post it back overseas or whatever. So went with iTech World again. Look for a 100 amp hour battery minimum inside. The inverter, the only reason I got it with an inverter was because at the time I was running aircon. Now I've got a little icebox aircon that I might be putting in the caravan that this will run. Apart from that 12 volt, maybe a charger while you're driving, charge your power tools. Everything else I've got is 12 volt, so yeah. I said USB's there to charge everything, and it is good too having the output watts, just to see what just to see what your charging stuff's using. Sometimes you don't know how much the drone battery might take to charge, so it is good for little things like that. I suppose that's it for the iTech World 1300. Insert letters after this. Whatever it's called, I'm sure there's new models there. I know people get stuck to name brands, your Red Arcs, your all of them. When I was researching and looking, the Red Arc has a battery box. It might be 105 amp hour lithium, so still their Red Arc battery, which still comes from China. They slip a Red Arc sticker on the side. No inverter, no LCD display on it. It does have 2 Anderson plug outputs on it, which is one plus, but it just has a series of red, green and yellow dots vertically up the front of it that you can push a button and it'll tell you how charged the battery is, which in this day and age is ludicrous. How much do you think that is? Now, all the stuff this has got in it, $2,300. How much do you think the Red Arc one is? $3,500. $3.5 grand for the Red Arc power box. I know there's people, I'd say there's people that got too much money on their hands and will go and fit out or chopper 200 series, 300 series Cruise, whatever else, and although half the time the bank owns that. The bank doesn't own any of this. I've paid this off to the bank or online credit agency doesn't own this anymore either. But bang for buck, again, and no Anderson plugs. If you're not going to have Anderson plugs, at least a second 12 volt socket, because I have ran the fridge on 12 volt, 240 volt through the inverter just to check, and it uses about 1.5 amps an hour more than what it would do on the 12 volt. So if something happened to your fridge cord, you could run the fridge on the 240, but you're going to get chew through your battery even quicker. But that's it for this episode of Equipment Check. Portable power stations, there's a lot of them out there. Do your research, watch some YouTube videos, watch some reviews, see what people are running them on. I love seeing videos of people, they're taking them out in their vans or whatever else. They've got the fridge plugged in, and then they're running 240 stuff, like hot plates, kettles, all that stuff. That there's gas versions, there's versions for the for the fire, other versions that don't require 240. Even 12 volt versions of kettles and that out there. So get out there, do your research. And I can tell you, in the week leading up to Easter, just sitting this in the van instead of spending waiting hour at night out there running wires, crimping, la da 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 da, mounting stuff, lights, SIG sockets, USBs. Money well spent, time well saved. Look what I've found to park next to. Complete inland cruiser, beige. You need some new tyres though. We finally got into the showground / footy field here, and what an ordeal. I don't know why I didn't bring any cash. I don't know why I didn't bring cash. I've got cash everywhere else. There's gold coins all through to Commodore for bunning sausages on a Saturday morning, but no. They've got an FPOS machine at the gate, which unfortunately when I got here was frozen. The screen was on, but they couldn't input the amount to pay to come in, which is $10 entrance fee. Why you wouldn't have $10 cash in here, it's going to change when I get home. So I said, well, that's alright, I'll duck up to the main drag. I know there's an ATM up there. Went up to the ATM. Sorry, can't give you money. Odd. Go into the IGA, grab myself a lovely cheese pull apart and herb pull apart for lunch for the trip to camp, and wouldn't let me get cash out. I paid for the pull apart, but wouldn't let me get cash out. So, rightio. And there was one more ATM in town, the Commonwealth Bank up the top end of the main drag. Went up there, put the card in. Doot. Restricted. Account restricted. We're keeping your card. So the machine kept my card. There was someone waiting in line behind me, and I've gone, oh shit, and he's gone, did that machine just eat your card? I said, yep. But then it was saying insert your card as if nothing had happened. I thought it'd say machine out of order. Obviously they've updated the technology, and he stepped forward and inserted his card, and it went in, and he was able to get cash out. So it must flick your card past the reader when it wants to keep it. So then I was facing the dilemma of being 120, 130 k's from home, or no, 150 by the time you get to Barney, from home, not being able to get into an event over $10 cash. It was going to make for a short trip and a short weekend. Well, not a short weekend because I've still driven all the way up here, but I thought, I've still got the cards on my phone, I could still scan, PayWave, Apple Pay, whatever else. So I thought I'll just go back down and see if they got the machine working. And luckily they'd pulled the battery out and put it back in, done a hard reset, and it was working. And I used that card to pay to get in. So Monday morning I'll be going to Hume Bank after work and finding out what the hell, and see if they'll compensate me for wasted time. That won't happen. Anyway, we're here. And there's some nice things around. FJ. So there might be time to go out and have a bit of a walk around. I thought there'd be more here than this. Maybe Sunday, maybe get a bit busier. But let's go have a goozy. Goozy? Geezy? Geezer? Gazer? Let's have a look. The old Chamberlain. Crusader. Nice. Custom cab. The Ford LTL. She sounds sweet coming over here, unloading something on the back of the trailer. Nice. G'day. Nice old Bedford.
Oh yeah, look, goes alright.
They've come a long way, haven't they?
Well, I certainly have. Only just a bad truck. Just to go past the small road.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I carry on the Hume at the moment, and I just imagine back in the day these things cruising up and down the Hume.
Oh, 30 miles an hour.
Looking pretty original. Old Bedford drove from Denny with one of these Fergies on the back. The David Brown Club. Really needs a new tyre. Oh, she's for sale. She's for sale, look out. The old belt drive attachment on the side. They used to run sawmills, all sorts of things off that belt. Oh yeah. Look at the whole hydraulic leak there. Should be bigger.
1898 Rushton Hornsby.
Bigger drive, right? Cracked headers there. You'd probably never be able to get another set of headers for it. That's for sale too. $2.5 grand. What is it? 1953. Cropmaster. Oh look out. Updated, this one's got ROPS. Very nice. That one there, you put jewels on the side of him. Put a set of jewels on it for the rice crops. That's the hot rod of the David Browns. Haven't seen too many red ones. I'm used to the grey Fergies and the grey David Browns. Yeah, there's a dozer here somewhere. Oh yeah, over here. What have we got here? Caterpillar, is it?
And a 1952 Land Cruiser, which happens to be my favourite. Has been since the first day that I did this ad. I just love him. Baylor, it's a beautiful machine when you watch that video. And this 23 inch, I saw that in Main Street last night. That's a beautiful truck there. For the Queen Mary. I only know this because that's what it says up the front. You see, I'm not that good at it. Two McCormick's, yes. And look at this, a Cap 30, a D30. No, it's not
It's a headlight.
That's a bulldozer.
That'd be a 6-volt globe. And good for about 2 foot of load in front of you. Steel. Imagine hitting the dish or something and having that go in the chest. I'm guessing that's the old Advance. Wooden timber tray on it.
David Brown's a bit like John Deere. John Deere's green, David Brown's red. So David Brown's go faster, don't they?
Can't have David Brown without John Deere. Oh, I've got a McCulloch there. Look at the seat on it. That's
that'd be fun to drive. All the way out the front. Oh, I've side knocked it. Watched a video about one of these the other day. Australian made, Chamberlain. 55 kA. Built 265 of them, guaranteed there's probably only 5 of them left in a condition like this anyway. And the old Lance Bulldog. Quite a distinctive note. I've got a few of these. I've still got them, I think, but I used to play smoke rings. Owls are fun for a young kid to look at. Very nice. Very nice. I'd love one of them. LTL or something with a 903 on it, but that distinctive bop-bopping noise you can hear is another Lance Bulldog. Notice the smoke rings. All for 200 volts, not even 240, just to run some lights. That's your generator. Just to ground some flour. Water pumps. Man, you spent some money here. Lots of stalls, old brass whistles, and some big shells over there. Just the sounds that Lance Bulldog just put in the background. But go over the middle here, we've got some old cars. XM Falcon, I think. Super Pursuit.
There's 2 packets of yo-yos in there. I think they're free whoever opens the door.
V8s in Land Cruisers. Yuck. Ruined it. or DeVille.
And use them as a centre or coffee
Jaguar.
table or whatever you like.
Wow.
But that's
Timber,
how we used to
timber
bale
dash.
hay.
Looks like a bloody aeroplane.
Oh, a long time ago. That's it. Manual labour. That's what all the Italians used to do when they come
And the
over.
license plate's hidden behind a bit of glass. Old Plymouth. I'm guessing this would be an old army car,
Alright, we'll squish it up.
even though it's brown, not green. I dare say she would have been an import for the army back in the day.
Hay bale on it. In the old days it used to be dry and they used to put the wire through on it.
There you go. It's never been unregistered. And it still has the original plates from when she came into Australia. And when it was registered, look at the timber. The timber doors.
There we go. Push the end down so it pushes it up nice and tight.
Still at race numbers, everything. And only one back before the week before. They brought up the pub.
When you walk into the Pagan Gate, there is a bit of a program there. We do have a raffle going on. $2
Might be on YouTube.
off Europe. And it all goes to the Corryong Machinery Club so that they can bring things like this to you. Now these two bales over here are owned by the Machinery Club. One of them I think is still owned by
A lot of them were sort of a bit of a mock-up. They were either GSs or Fairmonts, you know, and then just the striped them and a few badges and bits and pieces.
Some of us bale hay this way.
Rest of
In his younger days, he's got to the stage where he's a little bit old now.
And the Jack Dock Falcon.
Like just looking inside and that, and just looking at the console and the steering.
Now if we can
It
find
seems to match the
Ilya
age of the
somewhere,
car and
he's hiding. We might find out when the tractor pull is on.
yeah, you can see that. Yeah, well, he drives it.
And the tractor pull will
They
be
would
on
sit in the
over
shed
the
and
North
looking at them if you
Radio.
got them.
No.
This is the other day then.
Started, are we?
So, you know, the first one. Oh, right. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, Land Rover. First car I ever drove was one of these. No roof on it. Old aluminium back seats in it. The old man put it in gear. Crawl along in first gear and he'd be throwing porcelain or terracotta pipes in the back for the irrigation channel.
Lucky this machine doesn't work pretty fast, but it's without content at one stage. Won't know what they're doing. Read them how to throw buttons on. And then they'll know how to do it. There we go. Tighten it up.
Not original, she's got seatbelts in it. Something you don't see many of anymore is the old Ford F1 Lightning. F-150 Lightning, what do they call them? I visited the factory in Gippsland where they done the right-hand drive conversion on these. One thing always interests me. V8s, big heavy yank tank, big tyres, only five stud, and the steering arms on it not even as big as your little thumb. They're smaller than the wheel studs themselves. Makes you wonder, probably the reason there aren't that many of them on the road anymore. They've all failed and crashed. Original condition. Dad used to have a few old Humbers, and I don't know what happened to them when he died. I think they all got sold off. Nice timepiece there in the dash. Massive white walls on it. And you can't have an old car shaft out the old combi. Look at it. Old lamp lights on it. Don't know if there's a camper. Now, if I had the bloody space here looking like this, who am I kidding? Why would you have the space here? Pop top. Sunroof. Weapon! What a weapon! What a weapon. Alright, that's pretty much it. There is one more thing I want to see over here, and they're not that I want to have anything to do with small square bales ever again, but they got an old square baler here. We'll go have a look. Awesome F-truck. So many great old trucks. Gonna get run over. Anyway, getting a bit parched, need some water. Gotta go back to the car for a minute. Well, there's a bit of stuff here. Still see some nice stuff coming in the gate. I reckon Sunday would be the better day to be here. A lot of people would have worked yesterday and having to come up here, drive all the way up. See if I get a shot of this old truck. Old truck. She's one of the first on the back of this troopy. But, yeah. No, for next time. Next year I'll definitely come up and do the other way around. Come in on Sunday and not Saturday. Maybe even camp here too. Geez, some of these blokes will tell some stories. I've already been yakking away, but yeah. Not old truck, old ute. That's where the utes were grown or born. Go to church on Saturday, take the stock to market on Monday. Oh man. Well, yep. Another XY Falcon's just turned up. I don't know if you heard earlier when we were overlooking at the cars, or if I've put it in the video or not, but there's one old bloke there looking at the XR. You're not going to see it. He's I know it was the XY. He was saying that he could probably bring his old Hilux over, which is parked near me on the fence there, and line up as well, which I think it wasn't IFS front, so early to mid 90s twin cab Hilux you'd probably put out there as well. It'd be no more out of place than an FJ Cruiser, but that was great. $10 to get in. Great to support the little community shows like this. Come in, pay the money to get in, grab some food. Plenty of parking here. I reckon next time I might tow the van up and actually camp. There's a you can camp in there with obviously people that got their gear here unloading.
they're going to camp with their machines on site. But there's a big RV camping area here next to the, I'm guessing this is a golf course. Yeah, between the golf course and the showgrounds. Self-contained only, but when you're in a van. If I wasn't worried about coming up, this bloody thing got hot coming up Derbyshire. One of the big hills coming up here, the the auto trans temp got up to 100, going off the gauge on the dash anyway, so I know these things aren't real good, and a lot of people put aftermarket trans coolers and that on them, and we're not real hot either, we're only 20 degrees. Keep that in mind for future ventures. If I'm towing something, get away early while it's cooler, because it might run into problems. I'd hate to do a transmission in one of these. So anyway, you see it's getting darker. The stuff around with my bank card not working and then getting chewed up, having to try twice to get in. You're not going to see it on the video, but I was talking to a lot of the old blokes, just getting their stories, like that old Bedford getting driven over from Deniliquin with a Fergie on the top. It's 2 hours from home, so it'd be 3.5 hours in a car. That thing doing 65, 70k an hour max on the flat with a slight downhill slope. Not to mention the Murray Valley Highway between Toolangatta and here. Oh, there'd be spots he'd be in first gear doing 5k an hour up Derbyshire and that. That's why I asked him, did he float up? No, I drove it. As you may or may not have heard from another bloke that was there as well, when I was looking at the XY, he was saying there too. Speaking of which, there's one parked over in that garage there, nice mustard coloured one. Yeah, they're old cars, they're not making them anymore. Sometimes you can still find parts, but if they're just going to sit in the shed and rot, then what's the point? Get them out, let people see them. Don't let people see where you live, because they'll go missing. But and that's the thing, as I was saying earlier, I think 10 grand for an old traction engine, or even the Fergie, that 3,000 or 2.5 grand for a Fergie, David Brown I should say, not Ferguson. That's at the very bottom end of the price for these things, and a lot of them, they're not, you wouldn't say they're restored, they've just been cleaned up, scrubbed back a bit, and they've just had the red paint slathered over them so they look new. Like that one for 3 grand, it needed tyres. I dare say those tyres get pumped up every couple of days because of the cracks in them. Although I'm pretty sure they should still have water in them, those little tyres, but yeah. I think you spend 50, 60, 70, 100 grand on a four-wheel drive. Yes, people do visit Toorak and take their kids to school in them, but if you're going to do that and not get out, get off road, get into the bush or what have you, tow a van or whatever, why wouldn't you just buy a BMW? They're safer. Anyway, we weren't going to waffle. Waffling meter has hit the red. Oh, probably should still do 60 coming out of town. So that's the Corryong Heritage and Historic Vintage Rally at the showgrounds. 21st, 22nd of October. I believe there's a one. It's biannual. Biannual. I think there's one in January, February, or might be the March long weekend as well. Which, yeah, and something else on that March long weekend to do. But definitely plan to come back to that. But in the meantime, it's getting later. It's getting later. I had a brief look in the map and coming up. probably want to go all the way back to Shelley, but want to see something a bit closer, so we're going to go and try and find somewhere to camp, probably in around Lucyvale or Batoomba somewhere. It's only just over the Wabba range here, Wabba range, whatever you want to pronounce it, just past Cudgewa, so I think we might make for there. Don't think we're going to be camping here. That's a Colac caravan park, and look at them jammed in there. Ew. Ew. Oh, you pack side by side in the cities. Let's go on holidays. Let's go away for the weekend. Kids, family, wife. Nice RV cruiser down there. That's a great camp spot there, but I was going to go back to it. I was worried about the road noise and having a van or something pull in beside you. So yeah, let's go on holidays to the same place that everyone else goes. Yuck. Oh well, we'll keep on moseying on down here and see if we can find a patch of bush for ourselves. Rightio, so we've come off the Murray Valley Highway into towards Lucyvale a fair bit. The logging road there for concrete bridge has sort of just snuck in this little track. It goes down through a creek crossing and up into the hills. It's sort of tight with blackberries growing over it, so didn't want to go too far down it because the only way out's to back out, which I like to do, back up to here. But found this little flat spot right on the edge of the pines, which is private property, so can't go into there, but on the edge of the pines here, got this nice little flat section. The car's relatively flat. It needs to point its nose downhill a little bit just to keep the bed level in the back, which makes everything else unlevel. So I'm going to set camp up and yeah, get some things set up, get the fire set up. It's not supposed to be too cold tonight, even though we're down in a big gully here, so I don't think the sun's going to hit us until 8ish in the morning, but yeah, we'll get some stuff set up anyway in a chair and crack a beer. So that's about everything set up now. Not going to unpack a heap of stuff, not going to get the awning out, there shouldn't be too much stew tonight. Cooking tea tonight. I was nearly going to go and spend 150 bucks on a griller, but knocked this one up out of an old beer keg that I got from the local scrapyard, and a piece of old barbecue plate that I've given a bit of a polish up with the grinder, so I'll need to give that a bit of oil yesterday, but I'm going to check this out. That should be a bloody ripper. So I've put some charcoal in there. I've just got a little fridge stand I'm sitting on now. I will get a proper stand made up. As I said, this was thrown together in about an hour after work one day during the week. So yeah. Crack a little spot up in here. Far enough off the main road on this logging road, so there was a couple of spots further down right on the creek. One of them had firewood stacked up there, so I thought it's a bit hot. Someone might be planning on coming and camping there over the weekend, so left that spot. I don't really need the water anyway. I've got water on board. I've got some water inside as well. I can wash up with that, so don't really need the creek. I've got it gurgling in the background. It's not going to be too much that's driving me crazy. Nymphs are around. I have spotted a couple of mosquitoes as well. So, plus coming into spring, a heap of little blackberry suckers getting around, which are fantastic for your Chinese safety sandals. So, probably give it another half hour when it cools down a little bit more, and I'll be able to get the boots on. But yeah, in the meantime, 5:30. I might fire this grill up and at least get the coals going, and might be time for a bit of tea. The one telltale sign that we're up in Shelley, Corryong, that sort of thing, if I can find one on this one, there's all this little moss that grows all over the trees. Makes for the best fire lighting material. Even if you didn't have this, if you only had matches. So that fire's going to keep on doing what it's doing. There's heat in there now, so we're winning. So, going to keep on going the grill theme. We've got a nice bit of pepper steak porterhouse here that got from the butcher for one of my last bike trips that I never got to go on. So, sit that down there out of the way for the moment. And yes, we have the corn back. You just can't go wrong with grilled corn, but I'm going to do something a little special with it. Tonight we're doing char grilled pepper steak. I've got a little bit of sweet potato there to grill as well. And we're going to do some corn ribs. You might not know what they are. Hopefully I do them justice. Need to get cracking here because that sun's dropped behind that hill, which means once again, well not once again, but this time I've got into camp way too late. So we're going to throw a corn kernel down to start with because it is going to curl up like a rib. And I'm getting that much orange cayenne pepper and paprika on my hand. Oh, we've had a snap. And of course the sweet potato. The grill's not big enough for all this, but we'll get most of it on there. Of course, things will start to shrink as it cooks, and the sweet potato won't take too long anyway. And rearrange. Now the other side, the steak's exposed. Bit of salt on there as well, just to salt that side of it. Put a little bit on the... Oh, there's some heat coming off that sweet potato as well. And we are not far away from serving. Looks pretty good. I'll sit in there. Grab our corn ribs, which haven't really curled up as much as I've seen in some other videos, but yeah, we're camping. And our chippies, a sweet potato, nice bit of char on it as well. So, unfortunately, late in the camp, had to rush a few things, which is why it's getting darker. Take him off, sit him in the grass, just so I can cool down. I'll give it a wipe off later. So I want to be able to use that for a pot belly for the night. So, all right, let's cut into this beast. As you know, I'm a rare kind of guy. We had to work a little bit harder on the char on the outside just because of the little bit of frozen bit, and that's a bit of gristle, but get on the fork. So yeah, not too bad. Oh. use good ingredients. You don't have to cover in the sauce all sorts of other shit. One criticism I normally have of bakeries, if you can't cook a decent beef pie, don't do your lamb and rosemary, your pork and apple and all the Gucci pies if you can't get the basics right. But that steak, Again, a little bit of salt. Already had a pepper marinade, pepper thing on. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. Even with its shape, I don't think it was porterhouse. It's definitely not chuck. Not this time. Our corn ribs look fantastic as well. Good bit of char on there. And you just eat them like ribs. Again, that smoked paprika. The blowflies. Again, just that little bit of cayenne pepper coming through. A little bit of a hit, nothing, I'm not racing for water. And I've got corn in my teeth. Not racing for water. Grilled steak, corn ribs and sweet potato. Marvellous. That was delicious. It's juicy steak and some char grilled veggies. I've kicked the grill out, kicked the I just have oven tray in the bottom with holes drilled in it with the coal charcoal on it, which is probably why it didn't want to go off so well. If I'd have still grated, probably a bit easier to get it going. But we learn. That's why we do the little trips to test new things, try new things, and when they don't work, improve on it. So with those hot coals in there, threw some timber in that I brought up because I didn't know where I was going to be camping or not. I hadn't planned it down to a T. So I had a tub in the back of the car with some pre-chopped wood. So that's in there. Fire's up off the ground, contained in the ring. Shouldn't be any reason. Well, look how green the grass is. It's not going to take off just yet. You do need to be mindful when you are close to pines because they are just tinder, especially with all the pine needles on the ground. The spark gets into them and foof, off it goes. So, yeah. So I suppose lastly, this was going to be a motorbike trip, but unfortunately there's been too many horror stories of this area, even back down the road a bit to the property, the old man's property at Corryong. Just the wild dogs up here. When we were at Easter last year, camping on the block at Corryong, we heard them. I don't think we got any on tape apart from those ones that were being the hunting dogs that were chasing deer. But we'll see what happens tonight. There's been horror stories. I've had a friend, his old man was in the next valley over, and they had the dogs come in. They've got in the car and the dogs have jumped up. They've been on the bonnet of his Land Cruiser and growling through the windscreen at him. So I'm not quite game, and I've seen too many horror movies to sleep up here in a tent. There's not enough protection between you and those those ragged teeth. So the only way I was doing this was in the car. So sleeping in the back, not pitching a tent, not spit roasting in the hammock where they just come up and eat your ass or your back out. Just keeping it safe in the car. Now whether they come in tonight, I'll be sleeping with the earplugs in, so hopefully I don't hear them, otherwise I won't get this back to sleep. But yeah, some wild dog stories up here. There's a plane flies overhead. Another interesting thing about the Corryong area, I don't know about lately, but a couple of years ago they had a issue with space junk falling out of the sky. Farmers would go out in their paddocks and they'd find massive panels of, I'll say spacecraft to categorise as something that's been in space. Human-made, not UFOs or none of that stuff, if you believe it or not. But yeah, finding parts of satellites and that in paddocks. Interestingly, when I go into Canberra at 4 o'clock in the morning, there's a lot of lights, or dots, unblinking lights floating around above Canberra that aren't aeroplanes. And some of them I've seen move in some weird directions, but if something was to happen to them above Canberra and they fell on a trajectory, they'd land here in Corryong. So, well, fuck, I suppose I'd land in anywhere in a 360-degree range, depending on the trajectory, but I think it's time for bed. The other reason I brought the car and not the bike is winter is still hanging on. Here we are in October. October's nearly over, and we're still getting down around the 0 degrees overnight. So that's car camping. That's not motorbike camping, the way as I see it anyway. But just going to cook up some brekkie here. I've been hankering for scrambled eggs for weeks and haven't been able to do it. Didn't do it on the last trip. So just got 3 eggs and some milk and a little bit of curry powder in the cup there, mixed up. Some stemmer for the win, tomato and chopped tomato and chopped onion. In our pan, we've got our fire going, billy's on, billy's boiled. That in. Oh, speaking of that in, I better get the bacon out. There's a lot here, but it's going to reduce down. As I said, I'm not doing this on toast or anything, it's just going to be the scrambled eggs, so it won't matter if there's a bit extra in here, I'll eat it. Even though that steak last night's still working its way down. Great amount of heat just coming off those coals underneath it. It's only a little bit of yellow box, so it burns down to ash pretty bad, but it does give off some good heat. All them golden eggs, fresh eggs, not store-bought. Nice yellow yolks, of course, a little bit of curry powder in there, but it hasn't done too much to yellow it. I'm just going to pour that in there. Now, if I had a lid, you could nearly put a lid on that and just let it sort of cook into a bit of a quiche. But unfortunately I don't have a lid for it. I'll have to keep an eye on that when I get a new saucepan. At this stage, I'll throw a little bit of salt in there. A little bit of our pepper since we didn't add enough before. This will go real quick now. As the last of those little gooey bits of egg cook through. All the hot onion, tomato helping it cook through. It probably does need a bit of green in there, doesn't it? Might have to pack a little bit of spinach or shallots or something. Spring onions, whatever you want to call them. Just to make it look a little bit healthier, although there's nothing not healthy in there. Not too much bacon. So that's done. Yummo. Do a little bit of the dishes. How funny is that? What is it? 8 o'clock and the sun's just peeking. The sun's just peeking over the top of the hill. Oh, googie egg. I need a bloody spoon. Rightio, so we're all packed up. Gonna head out this track and get back on the Murray Valley Highway and head for home. So that was a great little trip. Got to see some old machinery. find a nice little spot, even though it was getting late in the day. Out in the forest, Lucyvale. I had a hunter come through camp this morning, talking to him. He's from Myrtleford. He in here and got a stag overnight. So even though I didn't see any wildlife, they are here. But again, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've got something from this video, or at the very least enjoyed watching, enjoyed what I've done. So that's the main goal here. So I hope you have a good week going forward. I'm back to work Monday. Boo-hoo! But anyway, we're going to do it. If we don't work, we can't do stuff like this that we enjoy. So last minute plug. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you do enjoy the content. It is greatly appreciated. We've only got 3 or 4 episodes left for the year. It's going to be a 10 episode season again. So we are getting closer and closer to Christmas and the end of 2023. So, water. So yeah, I'm going to keep heading out here. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.